Hello class and welcome to another lesson in Beginning Linux. In this lesson we'll be introducing one of the most important concepts in the class, and that is shell scripting. That's going to put together all the different things we've learned from the very beginning, from day one up to today. So for our overview, we'll learn how to write scripts, how to execute them, and then we'll talk variables, which are really useful for writing dynamic scripts. So for our introduction, we're going to take it back to the very beginning. Bash. Remember, Bash is our command line interpreter. It's what reads our commands, make sure that our syntax is correct. It's what makes it possible, right, to execute all these cool commands. Next up is file system. So we covered how to navigate the file system after we learned some of the basics of Bash. And remember, everything in Linux is a file or a directory. We covered permissions in Linux, who has access to files and directories, and we learned what level of access they have, right? Can they read a file? Can they write to it? Or can they execute it? Then we covered packages and package managers, really useful for extending the functionality of our system. Just like we download apps to our phone, you can download software to the Linux OS so that you can do all kinds of cool things, right, that these packages have to offer. And then, of course, you learned how to partition, format, and mount so that we can run multiple operating systems, so we can format our hardware, right, to work with certain types of memory, whether that's a SD card or a USB drive, or like I said, running an entire file system as well. So our Linux learning so far. So we've learned to use commands for navigation, user management, permissions, backups, and even package management. Scripting is going to combine all of these skills into one thing. So these tasks often involve running the same commands over and over again. You probably did that a lot during your labs, right? You found yourself running the same commands, not once but twice, but over and over again. And you had to test it maybe sometimes from the very beginning, right? Maybe you messed up and had to go back to the start and run those commands all over again. Well, there is a faster way, and that's with scripting. So manually executing all these commands takes way too much time, and there's often mistakes that you can introduce when doing things manually. Now, the solution to this is, of course, scripting, what we're going to learn. So you can actually store the commands that you run into a file and run them all at once, just through a single click on your keyboard. So what is a script? It's simply a file that contains a sequence of commands that the shell is going to execute. So just like we've been learning commands and writing them out one by one, we're now going to put them into a file and run them all at once. And this is going to save you a lot of time. So scripts automate repetitive tasks by running multiple commands in order. So they do help you execute these tasks faster. And of course, it's going to be less errors than running things manually. So you can create them in any text editor. That could be your Nano. You could use one of the GUI editors, such as Notepad. Just know that bash scripts, the ones that we're going to be writing, should have the .sh file extension. So when you're creating that file, whether you're running the nano or the touch command, make sure that you end the file after the file name, you do .sh. So shell scripting is the action of writing these script files. So you can use scripts or scripting for anything. So some of the simple tasks we learned, such as navigating through the file system, creating, renaming files, or even more complicated things. So like we learned backups, you can automate that through scripting. User management, maybe you're doing the same thing over and over again for a company. You can execute a bunch of commands together by using a script.